In this video, we're going to complete the first normal form version of our sales table. We see that in our sales table, we could actually create a primary key by selecting several attributes. The date and the truck number are part of that. But we would have to include a lot more along with this to be able to uniquely identify it, because there are going to be a lot of sales on any particular date for any particular truck. We would have to look at what was the subtotal amount, what was the amount tendered, how much change was given. And even then, that might not give it to us. We'd have to look into the sale items to see if we could make it unique there. Again, it would be very difficult to try and create a unique ID out of just these attributes. It is very common practice to simply add a primary key as a system-generated ID attribute. We're going to add a new column to our sales table, and we're going to call it the sale ID. The sale ID is going to be our primary key. Because it's the primary key, we're going to actually move it to the very top of the sales table. This is very common practice. You'll find that each organization, development organization, will have different ideas on where they want keys to be placed. Almost invariably, they want the primary key at the top. Some organizations then specify they want that the foreign keys should follow the primary keys. Other organizations believe the foreign keys should be at the very bottom. We'll deal with that shortly. Right now, we need to make some changes to our sale ID to indicate that it is our primary key. So we're going to say it is the primary key by simply clicking on it. And you'll notice the minute we do that, it has automatically placed the foreign key in our sale items table as a foreign key. And we told it to use a particular type of naming, and we see that it's a sale ID. It also is automatically made non-nullable. Now, we look at each of these two tables and we ask ourselves, what things here are absolutely mandatory? Well, we know that for sale date, it cannot be nullable. It must be mandatory. We have to have a date on there. We know we have to have a truck number on it. But as to the subtotal amount, the tendered amount, and the change amount, these are not necessarily things that must occur the instant we create a sale. You can think of the creation of the sale row as being when somebody at the cash registers starts to punch in an order. Immediately, it begins by creating a header on that ticket that would include such things as some kind of unique ID, like a receipt number, in our case, the sale ID, plus the truck number, and our logo or whatever that we want on there. It obviously will place the date on there right away. And it will wait for us to finish our order before we will know what the subtotal amounts, the tender amounts, and the change amounts are. Therefore, they will remain nullable. In our sale items table, Again, we have to say, what makes this table unique, each row? It's a combination, obviously, of the sales sale ID and the food item and item amount on the sale item, except that the way our receipts are being produced here for Tommy's Tummy Trucks is that each time, for example, somebody orders roast beef sandwich in the same order, it comes as a separate line. So now we have to say, obviously that's not quite enough. So to make it unique, we need to assign this one his own particular unique ID. So we're going to add a new column here, and we're going to call him the sale item ID. Again, because he is the primary key, we're going to move him to the top, and we're going to identify him as the primary key for our table. Within our sale items, at the time that we create this line of the sale item, we automatically know that we must have an actual food item, and we must actually have an amount that gets typed in right beside it. Therefore, these are both mandatory attributes. At this time, we have now converted our sales table into first normal form.